Hey guys, before we start the pod, a quick word from our sponsors at Mortgage Choice. There's a lot of noise in the property market, buying, selling, capital gains, leverage. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is quite confusing. I take the guesswork out by working with the team here in South Melbourne at Mortgage Choice. I have worked personally with Paul and Ben at Mortgage Choice. They have been incredible to work with. They helped me with my own family home, and I recommend they help you with yours too. So there you have it, guys. I highly recommend you check out Mortgage Choice. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hear Me Roar pod. I am Toby, and my co-host is none other than the Kate Save, which you might know her from Shark Tank. She's also founder of BeFit Foods and picked up Telstra's Business of the Year award too. Kate?
Well, Toby, you've got a super impressive CV, 25 years in global commercialisation experience, and you founded Creative Cubes, Australia's leading co-working space and real estate business.
All right, let's get on with the pod.
Hey, back on the pod, Toby.
How are you?
Really good. We've had some great guests as usual.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it just keeps getting bigger and better, and the I guess the wake of it,
Yes.
and the following and the growth and the comments and the shares and
the energy, the insight.
It's great. It really is great. So there's a couple of things, and I think I've shared this with you previously, but like our next guest coming on today actually is an expert in their field. But, you know, as an entrepreneur, growing up at the age that we grew up, so like in the 90s to the early 2000s, and sort of coming out as entrepreneurs and business leaders, like, I don't know about you, but I've formally been trained. Yeah. And I've been doing this now, you know, north of 26, 27 years.
Yeah.
But what I rely heavily on is actually my love for basketball and my knowledge of the sport. Mm. And with that knowledge of the sport and building team and camaraderie and sacrifice like playing time, to carry the jerseys, to sweep the floors, to sacrificing your body in the moment on the court or the field or the pitch, but to build business.
Yeah.
And I've used the fundamentals of basketball in my world to actually build the company.
Yeah.
And I've got my scorers, which are my sales guys or sales team, and I've got my defenders, which are the happiness team, which are here to make sure that everyone feels special and you know, we go out of our way to make them feel great about coming to work. But really, as an entrepreneur, I've never really been trained
done
or
the
educated.
formal training.
Exactly.
I'm excited to get our next guest to tell us a little bit more about that and using those skills in leadership.
Yeah. So Simon's had a fantastic career. I'm going to let him talk. Guys, we're going to throw to a quick break. We'll be back with Simon. Guys, I want to introduce you to Rise, a business cohort like no other. So what is the Rise Network? Rise Network is a curated inner circle of 10 to 12 like-minded peers designed to provide a confidential, high-trust environment where business owners and leaders can gain strategic insights, actionable solutions, and lasting relationships. Rise isn't just networking, it's a game-changing business support system. It has strategic problem solving built in, expert facilitation, actionable insights, long-term impact and authentic relationships, and it's based exclusively around high-trust cohorts. For your membership, you gain full access to Creative Cubes. That means you can drop in when you're on the run to use the meeting rooms, breakout spaces, or even just dock in for the day. We wanted to serve the underserved, the people that do need the help, do need the support, don't necessarily have the funds to be able to do it, and don't necessarily fit into one of these other organizations. And so that's where Rise kind of came from. So there you have it, guys. Go to werise.au, and I hope to see you at one of our cohorts soon. Mate, welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great setup.
It's cool, right?
Oh, coffee on the way in. The happiness team are very happy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is, mate, we're going to have to move in, I think.
You know what it is, Simon? And I'm sure you can appreciate this. we're not here for a long time. Let's have a good time.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean like let's be a nightclub and have a party, but actually let's just enjoy the moments. And for a lot of people, they're not necessarily stuck at their desk today because of technology. But they're in their work, and so we've worked really hard to create an environment that lifts people up. And lo and behold, they're doing like much bigger and better things for themselves because of the inspiration around them.
Yeah, we spend most our hours of the week at work anyway. So
That's right.
we tend to know our colleagues better than we know our families half the time because we spend most of our time there. And we'll get to sort of readiness stuff in a sec, which is what we live and breathe and what we do. But yeah, your happiness and your connection and engagement at work just dictates so much of your overall holistic well-being as well outside of work. So yeah, having that connection and being excited to come to work, which you can see when you walk in here, is no brainer. Yeah.
And Toby's alluded to in the quite a few episodes that it's actually only letting the right people in the door too.
Yes.
And that sort of, you can't just let everyone in, because if they're bringing the wrong energy, then
one bad
energy
apple.
givers and energy takers.
Yeah.
So in the property world, it's price taker or price setter.
Yeah.
And so you want to set you want to give the energy. Simon, in the intro we talked about sport. Do you want to just line us up with a bit about you and your background?
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about readiness.
Yeah. Did from Ballarat originally, did human movement or exercise science at uni back in Ballarat. Thought I want to get to the big smoke and came down here 2000, I think it was. So I was at Melbourne Football Club for about 4 or 5 years as one of the fitness coaches there. Basketball, Toby, so I was at Melbourne Tigers, head of the fitness there, sort of during the Lindsay and Andrew Gaze era and
golden times.
Brad Key and Copes. It was awesome. Yeah. So young buck there, getting thrown in the deep end with those big boys was fantastic. And ended up at Tennis Australia for about 6 years there as the head of the fitness for all the young up and coming players coming through. So that Kyrgios and Tomic and all those came through our program. Ash Barty came through as well, which was great. Was training Alicia Mollick. So remember, we all know Alicia. So she had 3 years full-time with Alicia as well, which was fantastic. And ended up, travel was huge. Young family, so needed to sort of make a decision there and ended up at Melbourne Storm in the NRL as the head of sports science there, which was fantastic. And then back into AFL at St Kilda for about 8 years as head of sports science there. So learnt a lot.
You've done a lot for a 21-year-old.
Thank you, mate.
It's the exercise.
I knew I was in the right place.
Yeah. Delivering happiness is
correct.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so Readiness is now your enterprise or your business?
It's my third baby, I say. Yeah. So making that link between sport, Jerry Ryan's one of my business partners. Jerry owns J.Co. Caravans and a gazillion other things. And
he also owns the women's WNBL team.
WNBL team, the Flyers, yes, where I'm heading to after this. Yeah. And we share State Basketball Centre with the Phoenix, mate.
Phoenix.
So see them
Giddy up.
many hours of the week. So I met Jerry, part owns Melbourne Storm as well. So when I was working there, Jerry and I struck up a bit of a friendship, mentorship, I suppose, and ended up at Saints, which is one of his other passions. So I was pretty cooked. Come just before COVID, 2019, like 6.5 days a week of high pressure sport for 21 years or so. It's starting to take its toll. So probably needed to practice what I preached back then. But pretty burnt out, anxiety through the roof and everything like that. So classic Jerry said, let's start a business. What do you want to do? And you certainly don't say no to people like that. You get that opportunity. So
that reminds me, if you're ever asked to get on a rocket, don't ask which is your seat. You just get on.
Just get on. Yeah. And
where are we going? To the moon.
Doesn't matter.
That's all right.
Exactly. And it was a lot like that with Jerry. He goes, right, what do you want to do? And I said, well, have a look at this. Showed him all how we monitor AFL players, which is similar to obviously, elite players, elite athletes around the world. And I said, the whole aim of what we do here is we want to be able to keep the players out on the track for as long as possible, minimal injuries or minimal manageable injuries, which we were really good at St Kilda at the time. And here's how we do it. So I took him through the strategies of how we monitor the players using a lot of technology and a lot of face-to-face and including a lot of people in the team. Toby, you're talking about your team before. So it's so this is how we keep players on the field and keep them not only on the field but performing on the field as well. And I said, I think this strategy could work for a mental health point of view and performance point of view out in the real world. So it was a pretty quick conversation with Jerry. Typically, he goes, right, I think within a week we'd started. And I said, before we kick off, we want to make sure we've got the science behind what we do. So we partnered with Swinburne University Centre for Mental Health, and they had two major projects. So COVID was hitting us here in Melbourne at this time, 2020, 2021, and so it came in a good time for me in terms of that. We built our own tech, but basically the two bits of research over 18 months was I want to know what are the major factors that have the greatest bearing on our well-being as human beings.
Yeah.
So if we're to gather data and get reports on these factors, we want to make sure we're dealing with the big ticket numbers. And if we're going to intervene and educate and resource and help people, we want to make sure we get best bang for buck pretty much. So that was the first part of the research. And the second part, now that we've identified all of these factors, what's the weighting of all of these? So we know what weighting sleep has to do compared to financial well-being, compared to your job demands at work, to your role clarity and all that type of stuff as well. So we built a program called Readiness out of that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that what you've done for your athletes over the decades, you're now applying the same theory and practice to business people or people in business and their teams.
Yes.
Whether they consider themselves an elite team or not is completely irrelevant.
Yep.
But it's more about showing up and making sure that you guys' team is cohesively together.
Yep.
And it's not just, silos and departments. And
correct.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think the important part here is that kind of turning it inside out, that you've got all your personal lived experience that's now on the outside, and you're using that as well to help people with all of your experience.
It's
from
like
the
one
athletes.
of those things. And to what you were saying before, like I had my formal training's all been from a physical point of view, and I've done a fair bit of mental health stuff since then through lived experience stuff as well. But yeah, as an entrepreneur, you need to obviously practice what you preach, but whatever you're starting, you need to have a passion for. And certainly in terms of businesses, it's about making sure you provide the right environment for your staff to be able to perform and care about your employees too. So being able to assess your employees and making sure that they've got a chance to check in and have a voice and have education and a lot of resources, and then that personal expert one-on-one help across all of these factors that we've had a look at.
And what size organisations are you working with?
Our smallest is 5. Our biggest is 1,500. Really diverse list of clients. We treat the human being. They just happen to be a lawyer, a plumber, a baker, a hairdresser, whatever. It's very. Some legislation has hit our shores. Victoria were actually the last to bring this legislation on in December last year. So it's psychosocial hazard legislation that's in. And the easiest way to explain it is it's pretty much, it's like you walk onto a building site and you've got your high vis on from a physical physical safety point of view. This is the mental health version of that. Yeah. So businesses now, regardless what type of business it is, how big the business is, businesses now have to abide by the legislation, which is basically enforcing that they have a safe, mentally healthy, safe environment for people to work in. Mm-hmm. And that was the first thing that sprung to mind when I walked in here is we might have to move offices, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I often bring my team along on these days that we're filming too, because they love being here. Yeah. It's amazing.
And it screams, that culture screams out. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I'd love to talk more about it, but this is about you, not about us. Couple things. My daughter actually plays in APS sports on the weekends.
Yep.
And she's been playing touch footy. And my sister's actually used to be quite a competitive touch football player, and she met her husband playing touch footy. They played on a mixed team together. And so I think my daughter Maddie has got that. And so she's like, Tobes, she didn't say Tobes, she said, Dad, can we go to the Storm game on the weekend?
Yeah.
And and you're not going to like this, but I said, if it's not raining, I'm happy to go to the game. Like, I'm happy to like embrace this, but we can't go for the Storm. I'm a Rooster.
Oh, you're a Rooster.
I grew up in Bondi.
Yeah.
We have to be Roosters. She goes, that's okay, Dad. I was like, if we go, what's going to happen is Storm are going to get around us and we're going to get sucked in, just like the Victory, just like the Phoenix.
Yep.
You'll be dressed in purple soon, mate.
Yeah, my family's all Storm.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's a hard one. I actually gave up my passion for the Sydney Kings in exchange for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
That's good.
Um,
Loyal to your environment.
I was the number one Kings fan for decades.
Yeah.
And people today still can't believe I'm with the Phoenix. But but then we are Flyers.
Yes.
Huge Flyers fans.
Beautiful. Good.
Alice Kunick used to play for the Flyers, who's a good friend of mine.
Yep.
She's a friend of the pod.
Yeah.
She's been on before. I want to just dial it back because like I just needed to get the fact out that like, hey man, I love everything you're saying except the fact that I just can't support the Storm.
Yeah.
But I think I think there's a lot of people that are going to be listening to this going, oh yeah, he did that for elite athletes. I'm not an athlete, just move on. And actually I want to bring those people's ears back to this content where it is actually about the plumber, the builder, the hairdresser, the office worker, and psychological safety. And you touched very lightly on COVID. And actually when Husey was on, we never talked about this either, but I repeated Harper 2 years in a row because I didn't feel like I could move her on because I didn't feel the fundamentals were there. Yeah. And Husey's wife was a Harper teacher for 2 years in a row, which is how we got connected. But like, and so we talk about that, like COVID, everyone wants to just move on from COVID. No one wants to talk about it anymore. But actually like the blessing and the curse and the experience actually give me three different feelings. Yeah. The curse was like, I don't know how my business is going to survive. I thrive on bringing people to spaces. And this premier goes, go to the office and you'll die.
Go the other way. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, fuck, I'm done. I'm toasted. Yeah. But we're still here and growing.
Yeah.
The blessing was actually awareness.
Yep.
Awareness that it's okay not to be okay.
Yep.
And I know we've had Are You Okay days, and I feel like that's a bit of a poster child, and we've got great stuff happening. Lululemon does a lot of stuff bringing around mental health. We should have someone from Lulu on the pod. And worlds like this, right? And businesses like yours, we exist to enable success. I feel like I'm doing that in most parts, but I actually don't have this department that you're talking about really like gripped.
Yeah.
I don't think many organizations do,
don't.
and that's
where I'm getting at, right? Yeah. This is where I'm leading the conversation to, like, I think that this is a really important ingredient.
And you're someone who's aware of these things. Like,
you're an outlier.
Yeah.
With that, like great example, Queensland and WA brought this legislation in first a couple of years ago, but you wouldn't know. And certainly back on the COVID thing too, we were chatting about this psychosocial hazard, or looking after the mental health of your employees at work, is an outcome of COVID. So, the government sort of knew, right, especially here in Melbourne, everyone's been locked down for so long. And with the research we've done with Swinburne, one of the big factors there is this connection, which we were starved for 2 years.
That's it.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, the products of that 2 years we've seen in the last few years, and we're continuing to see now. So,
go generations, like the poor kids.
I know.
Yeah, totally. But also like, they're now, well, she's trying to, and I'm not sure it'll pass, but Jacinta is trying to pass work from home.
Yeah.
As a small business owner, I resent her position because she actually has no connection to private sector. She has no idea about the office being the engine room for the business to go. Yeah. But moreover, it enables people to stay at home and become a little bit reclusive.
Yes.
And then their transition to a more responsibility, a bigger role, a leader, a this or that, it's starting to fray. And so what I love about your positioning is about trying to glue everything back together or stitch it back together ethically and responsibly so that you don't get laggers and you also don't get the people that are too far in front that they don't know what's going on with the team behind them, right? And I think this is really, really important.
Well, that stands out to me with the working from home is people that are probably psychologically well actually want to be around other people because we know we get the best out of each other by each other's energy, those hallway conversations.
Do you know what? Moreover, Kate, I've stopped looking at email on my phone or on my Mac when I'm in my house.
Yeah.
And I stop because I'm trying to create a barrier to say, this is my time for me and my family or just me and my wife or just me on my own to just sort of like decompress. I go so hard at the ball that you need that time out. And if I'm welcoming the work into my home, where's the boundary?
And that's probably the start of the problem was we blew up all those boundaries with the homeschooling and working from home. And now we're throwing that back on people.
I've actually got to study at home. I do Fridays from home and that's it. But it works well for me because I can get a lot done I shut the door.
I don't want to be an extremist on that. I have an appreciation for you as a leader, as a founder, as a business owner to say, you know what, I can't go to the office today or I can't be because I actually got to do some deep work. And if you look at my calendar on a Friday, I have a massive block that just says project focus time.
It's about choice, not making a blanket rule.
Correct.
We actually one of the teams I was working with, we moved location from, a very good training venue to an outstanding training venue. And one of the changes that was made was all of us in the high performance department were now in one big room and we had, meeting rooms if you needed quiet space and all the rest. And the amount of smarter decisions being made purely because we're all in the same room about high-prized athletes was incredible. And a lot of that is, you have meeting times and all the rest, but to your point, Kat, it's those accidental conversations or it's your strength coach is talking to your rehab coach and your fitness, your conditioning guy goes, I reckon we need to do that. But so many more better, smarter performance decisions were made purely in the environment and the location we were in through everyone being in the same room.
So my maths teacher, Miss D, I love her. She still teaches my nephews and nieces today in Sydney. She was convinced that 1 on 1 is 2. And I said, Miss D, 1 on 1 is greater than 3. Yeah. And I think what you're saying, Simon, here is when you come together, sparks, energy, stuff that is not often seen in the peripherals or in your blind spot, it starts to become into the focus
because
and brings things together.
As human beings, we're not just this forebrain, are we? We're not actually just a thinking brain. Like the real work happens with all the stuff we can't explain. The energy, the imagination is not sitting here like when you're typing away and just doing the work. Doing the work is just what needs to be done. Actually being creative, inventing, the feeling that you get when you've solved something generally is around other people or it's in those moments when someone's inspired you. It's pretty hard to be inspiring on a screen.
And all of our clients, I mean, our non-manufacturing clients, for example, it's hard to work from home when you're in manufacturing.
Totally.
Or healthcare. We're struggling
Same thing.
people to work in healthcare. But you know what? If you want to choose to be a doctor or a nurse or something we need or a paramedic or whatever, you're always going to be
You're always
on.
at work. Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to do the admin, maybe you can work from home. Why would you take these jobs that we actually need?
Yeah. And those who have that hybrid offer there are really pushing for their staff to get in the office like minimum 3 to 4 days a week.
Totally.
For that reason. Make smart decisions and be around for that wellbeing and connection point of view.
There's a couple of things here and I want to make sure that everyone looks in the show notes below. I'm going to link all of Simon's details, his business, how you can get in touch with him. If you're listening as a business owner, Simon said, as little as 5 people, you reach out and engage him. But there's a couple of things I just want to sort of like round out with. And the first is that the coming together, Pete, can't be undervalued or underestimated. Great things happen when great people come together.
Yep.
I have an appreciation and an understanding of people needing to work in dynamic spaces, and sort of do some of their deep work potentially at home. But I'm very, as a entrepreneur, I'm very disciplined around not trying to bring my work into my family's world. Yeah. And I drive down to your area last weekend, and my daughter's like, "Oh, Dad, another phone call. Like, we're supposed to be on the phone on the road together." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, babe, but it's 3:00 and work hasn't finished for me just because school's finished for you." So I think those are really, really, I love what you're doing. I'm grateful for people like you and your organization. I'd love for more people to lean in on this. I think we're going to try and do something and create some sort of initiative here at Cubes, maybe a lunch and learn, get some business owners in the room, get them understanding the importance. For me, it's about, you can go further together.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very team oriented. I mean, you've worked at the most elite levels. This isn't that, but just the value and appreciation for teams coming together to work together, to one-on-one is greater than two.
And the simple thing too, Toby and Kate, is how often, I'll speak from my own here, I need to speak to my colleagues, especially my business partners, probably 4 or 5 times a day. And it's a hell of a lot easier when they're just over there, as opposed to, ringing it. And you pick up a lot more in body language and, again, those accidentals. But it's sort of, even back to that example before with the changing of the environment of the sporting team is, we've actually moved our offices a couple of years ago, but probably almost too segmented now in terms of that, because we're always darting in and out of each other's office, asking questions and following up. So that learning to be around each other, bouncing off each other, and from a wellbeing point of view, picking up the signs and symptoms, if not of mental health, because there's still, we talk about mental health stigma is still very much alive and well. It's getting better, but we need to keep working at that to break those barriers down, to say, there's no difference between you got a sore back or a sore knee versus that onset of anxiety, which can lead to greater things. One of the great things around improving mental health is it doesn't take much to help someone who's struggling a little bit with that.
Fully agree.
Yeah.
I'm going to connect you to a friend of mine who's going to come on the pod soon, Josh Pitterman. He was the Phantom of the Opera. He was Phantom.
Oh, right.
He was the guy behind the mask. He was many years in the UK on, I don't know what they call it, Broadway over there, but whatever. I'm going to connect you with him because he does a lot of that stuff with some WAFL and AFL stars. Yep. He's actually meeting today with head of the team for Phoenix, head trainer for the Phoenix, Luke Vella.
Oh, Lukey, yeah, I'm good mates with Luke.
Yeah, so Josh is meeting with Luke today.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I want to connect you guys. I also made a promise to you, we'd be done, and you need to get to your 12:45.
That's good,
so
that's fine.
We're going to go throw to an ad break. We're going to let Simon get out of here, and we'll be back after this message from one of our great sponsors.
Luna.co is a great place for you and your business to start off with phenomenal accounting and legal services. So if you're a startup or a scale-up looking for legal and finance support, or alternatively looking to raise capital, Luna.co is where you need to be starting off.
Kate.
So important, that information. And when you've got someone like Jerry Ryan backing him as well, like Jerry knows what's going on. He's worked with athletes, he's worked in business, he's a proven success. And if he knows that this is important, well, it's important.
Simon and I have been talking a lot, trying to still qualify what my role, as in Cubes, is in bringing this to our community. But I think that it's like really, really important. I would hate for people to feel left behind or left out or not confident or challenged in some way. I love a challenge, but challenged in some way that actually disadvantages them. So I'm going to engage with Simon and his team and try and bring him to the Cubes platform. And I think if anyone else is out there listening today, just inquire, look, follow up. All the show notes have got all the stuff you need to know. Follow up, and if I think it's applicable, and I really do think it's applicable. I think it's applicable to all companies of all sizes.
And it's prevention rather than treatment, waiting until people have got the burnout. Do something before then.
I love it. All right, Kate, we'll see you on the next one.
See you then.